Hi. What's up? Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Beautiful. Nice, nice, nice. Beautiful. Please drop a like on the stream. Thank you for joining me. Please Thank you for joining me. Drop a like on the stream. Thank you for. Shut up, Jolah. Okay, I want to make sure I put these YouTube shorts up correctly. Members only. Wow, we are a special chat today. Yeah, well, I don't want. Yeah, I don't know. I want as many people in the shorts as possible, and the regular one is gonna be. The horizontal stream is gonna be members only for a little bit. If you want the deluxe viewing platform. What am I doing? What did I just do? Come on, bro. I just put up some YouTube shorts on here. I put up 4 YouTube shorts for fun to see if it would help me at all with any traction. Donald Trump today again used a form of propaganda where he misconstrues what someone says on purpose and he uses that to push a narrative, usually on behalf of Russia. So here, Zelensky said the war is far from over. That is just true. If you know anything about the world at all, which Trump is confident his supporters are not going to Google it because they don't care about the facts, but Russia cannot be trusted. They have violated ceasefires days after them, okay? You need security guarantees, real fundamental military alliances against Russia. Russia uses ceasefires to regroup their own forces and then to do more illegal stuff down the road. Donald Trump has people asking for a magical dream scenario that doesn't exist. Donald Trump today again used a form of propaganda where he... Okay. America is facing... Donald Trump today again used... Whoa, chill. Okay, the other one is nothing this pisses one. Trumpers off more than basic fact. If you don't get your news from the Joe Rogan Podcast, look into Russia and the history of ceasefire agreements and treaties with Ukraine and Russia. Russia has violated every single agreement. They cannot be trusted. The war is far from over because Russia is not going to stop. In 2014, they did not stop. In 2015, they did not stop. In 2004, they did not stop. In 2019, they did not stop. They did not follow the Budapest memorandums. They did not follow literally anything. They attacked days after ceasefires. During the peace talks in Saudi Arabia between the U.S. and Russia, in Saudi Arabia without Europe or Ukraine, Russia fired over 150 missiles into Ukraine in the duration of that meeting. It's basic fact. This war is far from over because Russia is not going to stop. Appeasing them, appeasing powers like this is terrible. In World War II, the Trumpers would be arguing that we should appease Adolf Hitler and just give him Czechoslovakia and Poland right away because he'll stop after that. Nothing pisses Trumpers. Okay, that's the other one. Why is my OBS disconnected? Why is my OBS... Reconnection successful. Okay. That's number 2.
Zelensky did not wear a suit and he talked back against my Pookie Bear. No one talks. Zelensky did not wear a suit and he talked back against my Pookie Bear. No one talks back to my Pookie Bear.
Margaret, thank you for becoming a supporter tier, Margaret. Margaret, thank you. Donald Trump is a supreme baby boy and
Zelensky did not wear a suit and he talked back against my Pookie Bear. No one talks back to my Pookie Bear.
Donald Trump is a supreme baby boy, and they are training Americans to also be baby boys and baby girls and just like babies in general. Little pee babies, peeing your pants and crying all the time about dumb shit. Really, if you look at what's happening right now, they want to shame Zelensky. Zelensky said, we need security guarantees against Russia because we cannot trust Russia. Trump says you can trust Russia. Putin's a cool guy. Russia deserves to invade Ukraine. They deserve territory. We should work with Russia. You know, he's mad at Zelensky for not liking Putin. And Zelensky sat there and took that for a long time. Trump lies about the funding. Trump lies about Zelensky being a dictator. Americans are so pampered
Countdown
that this
party,
is probably
yeah.
going to be messaging that works on them. Hopefully it doesn't work, but Americans have a really low standard nowadays.
Zelensky did not wear a suit and he talked back against my Pookie Bear. No one talks back to my Pookie Bear.
Donald Trump is a supreme baby boy, and they are training Americans to also be.
Okay, that's number 3. I put a 4th one up too.
RFK has had a real job for around 2 weeks, and he's already walking back some of his vaccine claims. Being a podcaster is really fun, bro. Reality television is super fun. You can bullshit about anything. But the real world is going to come and smack you in the face eventually. All this honeymoon phase bullshit Trump is doing, all the Trump MAGA mafia, whatever you want to call this administration, the reality will catch up to the reality television. Look at the fires in North and South Carolina right now. Is that some Democratic DEI conspiracy? No, it's real shit that's actually happening to real people, and somebody got to deal with it.
All right, there's my 4 YouTube shorts, okay? Hopefully we get someone to watch that and call into the show for good content. It's not guaranteed. It's never guaranteed. It's always a rush to see if we're going to get the amazing content. AOC did something today as well, which is really cool, which I like a lot. Oh. It was not that, which I would like that.
Call from
Ronnie.
Hello.
Jolah. I'm back for business. I'm ready to rock. I'm ready to go with my favorite YouTube debater, the Destiny clone, my man, the myth, the legend. Let's go. Let's do this.
I love you too, sweetheart.
No, but I'm really interested in debating you because I see that, you know, I thought you were a really smart guy. I talked to you one time, and I still think you're a really smart guy, but I'm a little confused because you articulate yourself really well, but I'm confused how you can be on Zelensky's side in this situation because I actually know a lot about Ukraine and Russia, and I'm just shocked that you're shocked that Trump called Zelensky a dictator.
Oh, do you know a lot? You know a lot?
Trust me, yes. I have a lot of friends that are Russian and a lot of friends that are Ukrainian.
Wow.
But we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Tell me what you know.
I know that Russia is probably the most corrupt country on earth, and Ukraine is right behind it. It's no different. It's just as corrupt, if not more.
Ukraine is more corrupt than Russia, you think?
It's very debatable. I mean,
That's insane.
It really is debatable. I mean, why do our politicians have so much business interest in Ukraine? It's not to funnel our tax dollars into their pockets. I mean, you can agree with me on that, right?
What politician has what business interest in Ukraine?
Joe Biden.
Okay, can you bring up anyone other than Joe Biden?
I'm sure Trump does too.
Okay,
and then I'm sure
so
that
far you're saying a whole lot of nothing. So we got to get to a point here. So what point are you trying to make right now?
My point is that, you know, sending $350 billion to Ukraine is not a good use of our tax dollars, especially when you look at our deficit.
Are you a troll?
No, I promise you. I promise you I'm not a troll. I would love to actually.
Where did you get that $350 billion number from? $350 billion. Where did you get that number from?
I could get you a source.
Yeah, give me a source.
Get you a source?
Yeah, give me a source for the $350 billion we give to Ukraine.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So it was stated in the meeting in front of Zelensky that he gave
show me the spending
billion.
bill. Show me the spending agreements, the aid package we sent to them with $350 billion, because Congress passes these aid packages. So we should have that in Congress through the allocations provided.
Okay, so I'm on UkraineOversight.gov, It says Congress appropriated 174.2 billion through 5 Ukraine supplemental appropriation acts enacted fiscal year 2022 through fiscal year 2024, of which 163 billion. Okay.
Okay, so it's not 350 billion. It's around half that.
Let's say 160 billion. Is that a good use of our money? You know, there's probably 2 million
Okay,
people
well,
dead
let's just start off. You said you know a lot about Russia and Ukraine. You said $350 billion because you heard it on a Trump speech, and now you proved yourself wrong. That's how you fact check. I'm proud of you. We're gonna give a round of applause in chat. That is a quick little Google. He Googled that in 2 seconds. He does have the ability to. So they have no excuses. Okay, they have no excuses for not knowing simple shit. Because these numbnuts out here want to get kicked in the balls repeatedly by this administration before they're gonna actually stand up to it. So.
Wait, let me say some stuff that's really good that Trump's doing in regards to foreign actors in our country. Are you aware that there are massive cybercrime rings that are ran by Russia in the Russian, public, like the same way you can go on Facebook or any forum. They have forums where they have services where they are able to have people go into U.S. stores, pick up products, sell credit card data, ship you skimmers, do all types of illegal stuff. And this goes for other countries, but honestly, there's a lot of reports out there. But when Elon Musk and Trump and Doge is talking about there's been $200 billion that's been siphoned off into other countries, it's not a joke. Like, that's the actual fact. Like, there are like huge amounts of fraud and huge fraud rings from out of the country that
huge fraud rings.
The U.S. as a piggy bank.
Huge fraud rings. Okay.
Yeah.
So far you've said nothing of substance with zero proof. So let's get to a point. You think Zelensky's a dictator?
Yeah, I think that he is a dictator. I think that he rules by power, but I'm not. That's not like
he rules by power. What does that mean? No, that's a big claim to say
like,
someone's a dictator. So why do you think he's a dictator?
I mean, you think that in that part of the world, you think right on the border of Russia.
No, you can make arguments that talk about Ukraine's government because you know a lot of Ukrainians and a lot of Russians. You know so much about this. So tell me about the Ukrainian political system and how Zelensky's a dictator.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the various journalists that have been arrested by the Ukrainian government.
No, I'm talking about like dictator. I'm talking about martial law. Foreign spies or someone giving intel to Russia getting arrested. That's not what I'm talking about.
No, it's under martial law. What do you mean?
Yeah. The martial law, for example. Why is Zelensky a dictator? So do you know what dictator means?
Yeah, dictator means you rule with a tyrannical force. It's if you're a dictator, you're using. This is not a dictionary definition, but you're using tyranny. You're not. There's no freedom involved. There's no free and fair election. It's completely rigged, which it is rigged. So I don't know how he doesn't fit the claim of a dictator.
So in Ukraine, they have their government and their systems open to the entire world's media. You can go there as a journalist from America and look around. The Ukrainian parliament has voted to maintain the martial law and to extend the martial law. It was done through democratic means. Nothing about this government is a dictatorship, and the corruption that is there is mostly from the former Soviet Union and Russia. So under no standard is Zelensky a dictator. Even the opposition party agrees.
You would say that Zelensky is in no way a dictator.
No, by definition, no. He does not fit the bill for dictator at all.
Okay, so that's really interesting that you think that, man.
Okay, no. Okay, so okay, deal with my points directly. Don't bring up anything else. Okay, so people that were voted in, okay, democratically, like we have in the U.S. and Congress, their parliament, that's like their form of Congress. Their parliament voted to maintain the martial law because that's in their constitution. During wartime, they're not going to hold elections. They cannot hold elections securely when Russia is invading and occupying 20% of the country. Now, with everything I just told you, engage with those facts.
Okay, great. Let's talk about Gonzalo Lira. Have you heard of him? Because I remember reading this story a long time ago. It was in January of 2024. I just had to find out who it was. But he was accused of spreading Russian propaganda. He was a big YouTuber, and he was imprisoned in Ukraine and somehow died in there shortly after. It was a big deal on
I said deal with the
conservative
facts
media.
that I told you about. Yeah, I know it was a big deal on conservative media, but tell me the facts about the Ukrainian government that I just told you and how it fits under dictatorship.
If you're arresting journalists that disagree with the government's views, that's by definition a dictatorship.
You think that's what a dictatorship means?
I mean, I
and by
think
the way, that's not
qualifies
true.
you as a
That's
dictator.
not true at all. That they killed him is not. I mean, if you have any proof of that, that'd be cool. But the only proven thing you could find is pneumonia.
Do you have proof that Jeffrey Epstein was killed? Or what do you believe about Jeffrey Epstein? Do you believe that?
Okay, can you
How about
engage with
this?
any facts? This is a really I want to have adult conversations tonight. I'm in an adult mood. So talk about the Ukrainian parliament and how they vote for the martial law. How does that fit dictatorship?
Well, that's a fact, and I mean maybe by definition, you know, you could say that Zelensky is not a dictator. I'll concede that point, but I will say that he is imprisoning journalists, and while I can't prove it. You know, just like you can't prove that the Russian opposition, you know, that get arrested and somehow die in jail aren't, you know, you can't prove it that they were killed. But just like you can't prove that a lot of things that happen in various countries, even in the U.S., you can't prove that they were killed by the government. But that's the point, you know. I'm sure in the U.S. it happens all the time, you know, like. We don't even know who gets disappeared.
So like jailing the Gonzalo guy is 100% justified. He was in Ukraine sending intel to Russia and justifying Russia's actions when they were invading and pillaging and killing civilians.
He was justifying their actions.
Yeah. Red Pill, the Red Pill dude. Yeah, he was saying.
Yeah, he was doing that. But
he was saying that Russia. Yeah, he was doing that. Yeah, if you're in wartime, your country's being invaded. We would do that too. The enemy, the internal spies. During wartime, when your country is being invaded by another country, you're not just gonna let that person fly. If you say that, you're not being truthful, because no country would let that fly.
Right. So if, like, let's say you're Hitler and somebody's saying, hey, you know, Hitler is doing this unlawfully, and Hitler arrests them, we would argue that, hey, it was justified, right?
You made 0 points there. That sentence did not make any sense.
That was a good point. What are you saying?
No, you did not make a point there. You did not make a point there. The actual comparison would be, for example, if someone was in the U.S. right now and they're a known Chinese spy, we found they were sending data back to Beijing, would you be able to arrest that person? Are they considered to be a foreign spy?
No, because you're equating the U.S. and Ukraine, but a better equation would be a country that you don't like doing that action, because if you equate the actions
Germany
that Ukraine
invaded
took,
other countries. Nazi Germany invaded other countries. Of course, I'll disagree with their actions. But if it was Poland taking
America
pro-Nazi
invaded other
sympathizers,
countries.
and okay,
so no government is morally just. Like you have to admit that every government is in some ways evil, because by nature humans are evil.
Okay. We're getting away from facts. Talk about facts. I
Okay.
don't want to have all these meta conversations because you can't engage with the actual facts on the ground. Okay, so Russia and Coach Red Pill, I don't care about Gonzalo Lira at all. I do not care whatsoever about that at all. Okay, so now go back to the point of Zelensky being a dictator or not.
Okay. I honestly, I'll concede that point. I already said I'll concede that, but I really am interested to see why you think that the way Trump handled the situation in the Oval Office.
Okay, so Zelensky is not a dictator, and also we did not give them $350 billion. The fact that Trump keeps on repeating the $350 billion number, knowing it's fake, and also Trump keeps saying Zelensky's a dictator who wants the war to keep going for his international fame, those things alone are discrediting. And you fact-checked yourself here. You probably still believe those things, though, because you don't care about facts. But
no,
why do I
mean,
think Trump's
I
approach is
conceded.
bad? Yeah, you conceded here. But you're going to go back to saying dumb shit tomorrow, though. His approach is bad because he said that Russia was justified. He said it's Ukraine's fault for the war. He said Russia fought and died for the land and they deserve to keep it. He's justifying all of Putin's claims, the fake lies about Zelensky being a dictator and taking kickbacks and profiting and looking for international fame. Trump has not said one negative thing about Putin at all, which is the person who caused the conflict. And now Trump brought out a fake mineral deal, which he purposely set up to try and frame Zelensky and ruin his popularity. Because Trump tomorrow is probably going to pull out from NATO, I'm guessing, at the State of the Union.
Okay, so I hope not. That would suck, but
we basically already did.
I want to say. Well, so I have a question then. So you're saying that Trump was wrong for the reasons you just stated. But my rebuttal would be that it's really American aggression that led to this entire conflict in Ukraine.
Why?
Because how would you feel if you're America and they're just putting
And China
troops
buys
and missiles
people in Mexico, and China puts people in Mexico, right? Is that the same argument you're going to copy and paste from everyone else?
China puts people in Mexico?
Yeah, that's the argument they always use. What if China put a military base in Mexico?
Well, I usually use the Cuban Missile Crisis example because that is the actual example from history with Russia.
You mean when Russia
reacted...
purposely put missiles near our borders to antagonize us on purpose? Do you realize?
Just like when we did that with Ukraine.
No, when did we ever put nuclear warheads in Ukraine?
We gave them missiles that were capable of carrying nuclear warheads.
Yeah, we gave them defense. We gave them defense technology for defense, not offense.
Defensive technology doesn't shoot in 150 miles into Russia, though. That's not defensive.
Yeah, it does.
That's
a form of defense. If a country's attacking you, that is a form of defense because you're weakening the invaders' lines and their production. Yeah, that definitely is defensive. It's not a force field. It's not like a video game. But yeah, that's defensive by nature because if Russia was not attacking, Ukraine would not be attacking. But Russia is still attacking, so they need to defend themselves.
So let's say Ukraine was allowed to join NATO like they wanted to. That was the goal, and they still asked for it to this day. So that you think that should be allowed?
Yeah, definitely. Ukraine should be in NATO for sure.
But why would that be a good thing for us to let Ukraine into NATO? Why would that help us, knowing the conflict? You have to be fair. You have to be fair to Russia. They're a sovereign country. You have to be fair.
Yeah,
or else
that would not. Okay,
conflict.
You said the word sovereignty. That means something. That would not infringe on Russia's sovereignty at all.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't infringe on their sovereignty. That's not the point.
The point is that Russia can be killed and isolated because their economy is weak without us, but we're saving them right now. And there should be no issue with Ukraine joining NATO other than if Russia wants to attack them.
So you think Russia can be killed and isolated? That's where I feel like it's not the right play.
Yeah.
And
if we kept on helping Ukraine defend themselves, Russia would have to stop. They are suffering immensely from this. Putin was in way over his head. Their technology is not that good. Russia's forces are dwindling. The conscriptions are failing to a large extent. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Ukraine versus Russia, Russia is having a terrible time right now.
So you truly believe that Russia, if they didn't want to, you think, in Russian media, they don't even describe it as if they're trying to steamroll Ukraine, and he's been playing down, Putin has been playing down the conflict to his people the entire time, calling it a specialized military operation, acting like it's targeted, this, that. It's not like they're going in and saying, yeah, we're taking back Ukraine. What they're saying, the casus belli, is that we have Russian-speaking people that are being discriminated against and abused in this region. That's the justification.
That's not true. I mean, so in 1991, I think, Ukraine, every part of Ukraine voted to leave Russia, essentially. Now Crimea was only 55% in favor of leaving Russia. So I mean, that's the one area that they were able to sort of section off right away in 2014. But still, every part of Ukraine wanted to separate from Russia. Many of those who supported Russia went into Russia if they wanted to stay with them. But even before invading, Russia said Ukraine's not a valid country. It's a fake country made by Russia. He said Ukraine is Russia, and the special operation is because they're not going to war. They're simply reclaiming the former Soviet Union and liberating. They're liberating Ukraine. They're saving Ukraine. But Ukrainians have been able to fight back so aggressively because their people do not like Russia. They do not want Russian aggression. Ukrainian people want to join NATO. They want to be free. They want to live in a more democratic nation. That's why Ukraine has been able to fight so effectively, and Russia has not been able to. One side is demoralized, one side doesn't really want to fight, and one side really wants to protect their homes.
Okay, so you don't think that it's smart to have a little bit of a buffer zone between NATO and Russia, and with some neutral countries? You don't think it would be better to try and go in that direction diplomatically rather than having them join NATO and now isolating Russia, and then Russia ends up invading Ukraine, and now we have to jump to Ukraine's defense? That would be ridiculous. I couldn't. Can you are you okay with getting into a nuclear conflict or a potential nuclear conflict or having a potential World War III over Ukraine? Or over defeating Russia? what's the end game here? Like, what's the goal? Like, just to get more geopolitical power for America and NATO? Like, what's the goal? Like, I don't get it. Like, why are we doing that?
So like when Hitler was able to take Czechoslovakia and Poland, it gave them very advantageous areas for military for the combat initiative. After that, appeasement gave Hitler the necessary resources to continue on, appeasing them and giving them areas of Czechoslovakia, like I said. When they made the same claims like Nazi Germany did about there being ethnic Germans there, that empowered that country. So the goal would be to isolate Russia and force them to play nice. Just like, Russia violated like 15 different ceasefires in the past 20 years or 30 years. They're not able to be trusted. If they want to go into... If they're going to start a nuclear war, they're going to start a nuclear war. They usually just do that for a fear-mongering scare tactic, because Putin's legacy would be forever tarnished if he ever launched a nuke. He doesn't want to do that. It's all fear-mongering for people like us, and he wants to scare us into telling our politicians to not support countries like Ukraine. It's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. Russia is all propaganda. They lied about their military technology. They lied about so much. And now the U.S. is going to help them catch up rather than put them in a stranglehold and forcing them to play nice. And the United States right now is acting like we're the weakest country in the world, like we can't do anything economically, soft power, or anything. Like the U.S. right now is just bowing down to Russia, which is also a propaganda mechanism. But like, there's no reason we should be backing down and saying, "Oh no, Russia's gonna attack," because if they're gonna attack, like I said, they're gonna start that war regardless. Ukraine makes it easier for them though.
Yeah, like it's a casus belli for them. So the way that countries are able to impose claims on lands is they have to have some sort of justification, some way, or it affects them and their diplomacy options. Because in the game of power, in the game of geopolitics, like if Russia just invaded Poland tomorrow, what would the world do? The world would all turn against Russia. They would say, "You're a warmonger, you're a piece of crap," and they would go against them if they did that. But with Ukraine, they have the argument to say, "Hey, this is former USSR," even though Poland.
That's not an argument. That's not an argument at all. Exactly. You just brought up how that's a dumb argument, because they can say that about anything. And then if they invade Poland, you can make the same argument like, "Oh, they have nukes. We don't want to start nuclear warfare." The way you stop countries like this is you stop them right away. You don't appease them. You don't give propaganda on their behalf. Making Putin more popular in the U.S. Trump right now is making Putin a popular person in the Republican Party and making Zelensky hated on purpose. Yes, if you look at the poll numbers, I can bring up the poll numbers right now. That is fair at 100%. Name one bad thing Trump said about Putin in the past 2 weeks.
I mean, he's in the past 2 weeks. Why would he say something
name
bad
one
about
bad
the guy
thing.
he's
Name
trying
one
to
bad
appease?
thing about Putin invading Ukraine. He blamed Ukraine for the invasion. Did he ever say once that Russia's responsible for the invasion? Even once?
But that would be a really bad thing to do. That would not
to
be
say
a good
like
idea.
what's actually happening. So to say that Russia invaded Ukraine is a bad thing to do, you think we should just repeat Russian propaganda?
That.
When?
No, but sir, he has said that Russia invaded, and he said that in the meeting with Zelensky. He said Russia invaded, it never should have happened, and we're going to end it. That's what he said.
He just said today that it's Ukraine's fault for starting the war, and Zelensky wants to maintain the war so he can maintain international fame. So I don't know if he was just saying that because he's afraid to say things to people's faces, which makes sense. But his messaging, like super hard, is super pro-Putin. And that's really bad. It's not good to justify what Russia's doing. There's no reason to justify it. We're the United States of America. I don't know why we're bowing down to this country that's so much weaker and more empathetic compared to us. But we apparently need to mythologize, make them like a
because
a huge,
Russia has
superhero.
allies too, man. Russia has allies. They have BRICS.
That doesn't mean we should be an ally.
But we should approach it diplomatically, because if we approach it,
we approach it diplomatically. We say, "Hey, Russia, you could be a part of the global stage if you stop invading countries near you. Let us make these countries NATO, like we agreed to in 1997, and then Russia, we can integrate you back into the global economy if they really want to play nice, because they were going to play nice. They pretended to with the ceasefire in 2019, but that was a complete fraud. It was fake, and they just bypassed that once they got what they wanted. So yeah, I mean, no, the diplomacy here is not being nice to Russia. There's a reason why so many people, Republicans and Democrats alike in the U.S., why every other free country in the world is against what Trump is doing right now. The only people that like what Trump's doing are China, Russia, North Korea, and Hungary are the authoritarian countries. Trump only is nice to the authoritarian countries. Meanwhile, Trump called the EU adversarial. Trump said the EU was made to attack the U.S. this week, which is just an insane statement by any metric.
Well, I think Trump knows what's going on. I think Trump knows what's happening, man. I think the truth is it's not as simple as most Americans think. And even on the conservative side, a lot of conservatives just say, hey, I'm against war, and they go with Trump because of that. But the real truth is there's like the world is a place where there's different power interests. There's some families that have trillions of dollars worth of assets.
Okay. I'm sorry, dude. But let's get to more of a point. Like, you keep bringing up these broad narratives.
Yeah, the point is that
and Russia and Trump is saying right now that Zelensky is purposely feeding his people into a freaking meat grinder. It's the most disgusting thing a U.S. president has ever said. No, he's purposely feeding his people to a meat grinder. You are a literal numbnuts if you believe that.
But how can you argue otherwise? The people have no chance of winning. They have no chance. There's no chance.
Ukraine has been putting up. Ukraine has been. If Russia wanted to take Ukraine at this rate, it would take them 90 years. 90 years at this rate.
Right.
If Ukraine got basic aid, just basic aid, without any help with troops.
Why do they need
with just
aid?
basic aid? They need weapons. They need weapons to help them fight.
Exactly. You proved my point. Thank you.
You're not making a point. This whole conversation has been brain mush from you. Say what your point was.
No, you proved my point, and I'll tell you what it was. It was the fact that you just said that they need aid in order to prevent Russia from steamrolling, which is true. If we didn't give aid, Russia would just steamroll Ukraine. It's not even.
That's not true either. They would not steamroll Ukraine. Even without the USA, it'd be a lot it'd be a lot harder of a challenge for sure. But there is weaponry they can get from other countries as well. But regardless, that's a dumb statement to say. The Ukrainian people are fighting for their lives.
You said from other countries?
Yeah.
You said from other countries.
Yeah,
so
the U.S. just has a huge stockpile of weapons.
Yeah, but you're acting like after the U.S. backs out that all the other countries aren't going to just fall in line with the U.S. They are going to fall in line with the U.S. And the reason why this happened is because of the U.S.
You think EU is just going to fall in line? What happened because of the U.S.?
The UK and France are also, they're literally praising
what happened
Trump
because
right
of the
now,
U.S.?
Prime Minister and
the UK literally just said they put boots on the ground in Ukraine if they needed to for security guarantees. And they're praising Trump because Trump is an overgrown man-child that needs to have his tummy rubbed to even do something somewhat smart before he crashes all of everything America loves. But say your broad point here, because everything you've said so far is completely not based in any type of reality. Do you think it's an issue for like NATO to border Russia?
Yeah, I think it's not beneficial for us to further encroach and violate our word of saying that we wouldn't go further. I think it's
okay. So violating our word, that's also a fake propaganda piece. That was never an actual agreement. So you're talking about there's discussions during the Germany reunification talks. Okay, so Eastern and Western Germany, when Reagan said tear down that wall, unifying Germany.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
The conversation was not 1 inch east in Germany for NATO troops for that specific negotiation, 1991. But in 1990 something. But in and don't say yes, sir, because Reagan right now would be taking the opposite position to you. But in 1997. Russia
you
and
said
NATO
Reagan
agreed.
would be taking the opposite position.
Yes,
Reagan
he would not be. He would not be
War.
being a little baby boy for Russia right now. But listen, in 1997,
that's exactly what he did.
In 1997, NATO and Russia had an agreement where Russia noted NATO would be expanding, but the agreement said NATO can expand, but you just cannot put nuclear arms in the new members in Eastern Europe, because the Eastern European countries were scrambling to join NATO. Especially in 1999, we added our first countries east of Germany, I believe. But yeah, Russia has noted that we were going to grow NATO. The idea that they said not 1 inch east, and that was some official policy, that was reported as word of mouth in a conversation during negotiations for Germany. That was nothing to do with NATO expansion in general. Gorbachev himself said this in multiple interviews, including a podcast in 2014. I need to memorize all this information because the media you consume does not tell you real facts about this stuff.
Do you agree with... Okay, so... Do you agree with the fact that James Baker stated in 1990 that the United States was striving for a united Germany that would remain firmly tied to NATO, promising at the same time iron guarantees that NATO jurisdiction or forces would not move eastward? Iron guarantees is what James Baker promised. Are
Nope.
you disagreeing with that fact?
Gorbachev himself said NATO expansion was not included in those conversations, and that was not in the official deal, was it? Why was it not in the official deal if they discussed it? If it was discussed, it would have been, because it's not true. Gorbachev has debunked this multiple times.
Okay, so James Baker never said that. It was never a
He
part of
might
the
have
deal.
said that, but it was never a part of a deal. Yes, it was never a part of a deal. Someone might have said something like that, reportedly, but it was never a part of a deal. And Gorbachev himself said the conversations were not about NATO expansionism.
It wasn't written down. You're right, but
It was
an
not any
agreement.
deal. No, it was not an agreement. That's not how it works. You don't talk. You don't have negotiations. And before you sign the contract, you're not held to something you said offhandedly before you sign the contract if it's not written on the contract. It was not in the plans because it was not discussed in terms of all of NATO expanding in the early 1990s. And like I said before, 1997, Russia had an agreement with NATO. Okay, NATO's going to expand, but no new nukes in the new members, which is what they agreed upon. But Russia also violated that as well. But Russia did have an agreement with NATO. You could look it up, 1997, where they said NATO is going to expand. So it's not, we didn't break any promises by moving NATO east. But do you think there's any countries bordering Russia right now from NATO?
Well, I just like what you just said, actually, because you just said that in the aftermath. Oh, so I just want you just said that you're referring to no nukes in 1997. So why is Poland proposing that they have nukes and hosted under the NATO nuclear sharing program? Like, why is that happening right now?
Because Russia has violated every single agreement and ceasefire they've made in the past 30 years, so they want to have nuclear arms because Ukraine's seeing right now, Ukraine traded their nukes for security guarantees from America, and we are walking back on our promise. So is Russia from the Budapest memorandums. So we're seeing right now through Ukraine that we should not give up nukes because Russia's going to invade you, and we're going to say screw you and abandon you and ask for half of your resources. So that's why Poland wants nukes now. But after Russia violates 500 million ceasefires, I love how you have not brought up one negative fact about Russia in an agreement, by the way, because all your media is pro-Russian, so you don't know about these deals that they violated. We could go through the 2014 to 2015 Minsk agreements as well. We could go through when Merkel and Macron were sitting at a table with Zelensky and Putin when they signed the fake ceasefire in 2019, probably for some type of oil deal with Germany. I'm assuming. I don't know that for a fact, but there was a ceasefire signed in 2019, which they violated again when they invaded in 2022. So yeah, Russia cannot be trusted. So Poland definitely wants to have nukes. I don't even know. By the way, I'm taking your word for it. But if they did want nukes, I'd have no issue with that. Russia broke that agreement a long time ago. Yeah, but do you think it's an issue for NATO countries that border Russia?
Yeah, I think it would be better if they didn't.
So do you think we should take away NATO membership from all the countries that do?
No, I don't think you should take it away. I think it's sad that it exists as it is, but I think that they should probably try to come to. You know what I would say? I think that the NATO countries and Russia should try and come into economic agreements within these countries that are between them.
Hey, guess what? No. Guess what though? Guess what? That 2019 agreement. Guess what that was about? Guess what they tried doing?
Enlighten me, Jolah.
They tried doing multiple times exactly what you're suggesting. Russia every time does not abide to the agreements. Every time they go and rape and pillage their neighbors. They do not abide by the agreements. They have tried this multiple times. That's why Zelensky says this war is going to last for a long time because Russia is not going to stop. They are never going to stop. They want to expand. They are imperialists. They want to fight their neighbors. That's what they want. That's why every country wants to join NATO.
Did you just say
so
that Russia is imperialist?
Are you going to engage with any points I just said? Or are you going to have because I could talk to someone else if you're not going to, honestly. Because I just said a lot of information there. It might be overloading your brain a little bit, but can you engage with any of that? What I just said, you said we should have an economic deal with Russia. You realize we have tried that. That's why Ukraine wants real security guarantees. That's why Zelensky is not signing any deal America gives him because number one, America's already walking back from deals we already have from denuclearizing them. But also he knows that Russia cannot be trusted because they tried doing this. They tried doing this agreement already in 2019. They tried doing multiple economic deals with Russia. It never stopped them.
Okay, so You're saying that we tried multiple economic deals with Russia, and Russia were the ones that couldn't help their warmongering, and they just had to break these agreements. So which let's talk about specifics. You said 2019, that was what were you referring to in 2019 that Russia broke? Which agreement?
2019, there was a ceasefire between, it was in France with Merkel from Germany, Putin, and Zelensky, but there was a ceasefire negotiated.
Okay, so when the U.S. withdrew from the INF treaty, because they're saying that Russia kept violating the treaty. So just for the viewers, what was the reason that they stated that was the violations that Russia, conducted? What were the violations that Russia ended up doing?
Oh yeah, someone said Minsk too as well.
You said Minsk too?
Yeah, the Minsk 2 agreements.
So
I'm pretty sure that Putin violated that ceasefire 2 days after they signed it, right? Wait, let me see. Minsk 2.
Well, you know what's funny? I think it's hilarious because even American presidents, with no reason, when they're not in power, will state that Putin always was a man of his word and always held his agreements. So I'm just shocked that Democrats will say this. Republicans will
Who
say
said
this.
what about Putin?
U.S. presidents literally have said that Vladimir Putin always keeps his word, and he always stays true to his word behind closed doors, in front, and they never have to worry about him not doing that. So I'm just confused. I'm astounded that you don't, like, what are you saying? Like, you're saying that Russia is violating all these, but from the Russians' perspective, they're saying that the reason that they're violating these treaties is because in 2019 that the U.S. was violating the INF treaty. They're saying that these Aegis offshore installations constitute a violation of the treaty that the Americans
why do you
and the
okay,
NATO
so
are.
I have a question though. Why is everything you say arguing from the Russian side? Like, have you made an argument on behalf of like any other country other than Russia?
Because the reason why is because Russia is not the aggressor. So how are you going to argue on the American side? The Americans are the aggressors. They're imperialists. They invaded Iraq. They killed 1 million Iraqis. They're bombing all. They leveled Gaza.
Okay, so you're saying they. Gaza. Are you from America?
Co-signed that. Dude, I'm Iraqi, bro. I'm Iraqi American, and I come from a community out of Metro Detroit, and my people are very successful here, and I have to vote for Trump because he's the one that's saying, hey, I'm done with this warmongering. I'm done funding the American war machine to go into these innocent countries and just slaughter their people.
You know that Trump gave $5 billion in emergency aid to Israel yesterday so they could do their full genocide of Palestine, right?
Yes, because yesterday, man. Yesterday. Trump is aligned with Israel. There's no question about it, man. That's no question.
But you just said he's not a warmonger.
He's not. You think that Gaza would be leveled right now if Trump was in office? You really think that would be the case?
Yeah.
Have you seen Gaza?
Yeah, that would have happened quicker if Trump was in office. Yeah, that would happen quicker.
No, because the reason why, you think in Israel has more cameras than any other country on a square mile basis, and they have the most advanced intelligence agency. You know how powerful the American intelligence agency is? Try twice as powerful.
Yeah, okay. But you're saying that Donald Trump would have been better for Palestine.
Yes, because the plan that the Americans and the Israelis allowed in order to completely wipe out Hamas so that they can go in there and fucking turn it into, like Trump now, he's saying, let's turn it into a beachfront hotel. That Trump doesn't give a shit about Gaza. But the point is, Trump wouldn't have allowed this slaughter of innocents. He wouldn't have allowed this endless slaughter of innocent people because Trump is a fair man. He's more of a moral man compared to these monsters that just kill indiscriminately, not giving two craps about any children or anything.
Why did Trump block all humanitarian aid to Israel and remove all weapons restrictions so they can get bigger bombs and more aggressive tactics? Like, why did Trump do that as his like second thing he did in office?
because he's having issues getting the hostages back from Hamas, so he's trying to be heavy-fisted. But in the grand scheme of things, the truth of the matter is the destruction's done.
So it's okay to. Oh wait. So you're justifying. You're justifying the brutality. You're justifying it. So why are they going in right now to fully wipe out Palestine? Why are they ethnically cleansing Palestine now?
Out.
They're not already wiped out.
They're giving money to their friends. They're giving
Who's giving money to their friends?
Who's
giving money to what friends?
Trump. Trump's giving money to his friends. I'm not saying Trump's a fucking
Why is Trump saying
angel.
we're gonna fully? Why did Trump say we're gonna fully occupy the Gaza Strip and turn it into casinos?
That would probably be better at this point, rather than let these fucking monsters in Israel have their paws on the fucking country. They're gonna fucking subjugate the fucking Palestinians
you realize
for eternity.
You realize
they're
America,
gonna make them eat out of fucking dog bowls. That's what they're gonna do.
You realize that Israel is
dog bowls.
Hey, buddy, you realize Israel's going in for their final solution right now, and Trump is fully backing it and actually pushing Israel to go harder. And like during the campaign, Trump said Biden did not let Israel go hard enough. And Trump said Trump said if he was president that the issue in Palestine would have been dealt with even quicker. And Biden's giving too many restrictions to Israel attacking Palestine.
No, he said that it would have. He also said it would have never happened. He said it would have never.
No, but
happened.
like during it happening, Trump said that Biden was not being brutal enough. He said that he would have went harder. And he
what else are you supposed to say?
You know you're
what
an
are you
unserious
supposed
person.
To say
are you? Do you think you're a bad person or a stupid person if you had to choose?
I would say that you're being disingenuous, because the thing is that Trump, you're not.
How dare I look at what's happening in the world? Yeah, I am. Trump said during Biden's presidency, Biden's not going hard enough. We need to restrict, or we need to not restrict any weapons to wipe out people as soon as possible in Palestine. Like Trump said, Biden was too easy on Palestine. He said he was too easy on them. Trump wanted to be even more brutal.
Okay, so under Trump, the October 7th attack would have happened, right?
Yeah, definitely. Why not?
Because it wouldn't have happened. Because the agenda that allowed that to happen was not
what agenda allowed it to happen. What agenda allowed it to happen, dude? You just said Israel has the best security force in the world, or the best surveillance state in the world. How did they not catch that?
Yeah, they did. So how did these Muslim extremists drive on motorcycles and shoot everything up if like what are you saying?
Everything you're saying right now does not make any logical sense. I'm gonna end this conversation because we've been talking for 40 minutes, but like everything you're saying right now is a contradiction.
You're scared, Jolah. You're scared. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing. No,
it just
buddy.
Like the chat knows that you're making incoherent positions. Like even Trump supporters know he's going harder on Palestine than anyone ever did. If you want to try to blame Biden too, I mean, sure. I disagree with Biden on the issue. But like Trump wanted to do worse than Biden did. So it just makes no logical sense at all. You're making emotional arguments.
So why are all the Palestinians voting for Trump?
In Dearborn, Michigan?
Yeah, I'm from Dearborn, Michigan.
Probably because he lied. How do you feel about gay people?
Love them. I'm not gay myself. I don't love them like that.
What about trans people?
Huh?
What about trans people?
I love them. I mean, I pray for them.
Did Dearborn ban pride flags?
No, actually, in Hamtramck they did, but in Dearborn they didn't. I see a damn pride flag on this building every day. Yeah, it's not banned. But like that's not like. Are you just arguing that Muslims are prejudiced? Is that what you're arguing?
No, I'm saying because a lot of Muslims voted progressive too, voted for Kamala. So I'm just saying that the Muslim areas in Michigan, Trump lied to Muslim communities, and also Muslim communities agree with Trump's social policies more because they also are very anti-gay in a lot of these areas. So that's one reason they relate to Trump. But Trump did lie to them, and they hated Biden for. I mean,
it looks like the chat's on my side. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, the chat's on every caller's side because I led it on YouTube Shorts.
Man, okay, all right. Well, that was a weak point you just made. That was weak. You talk about you're trying to say that Muslims are prejudiced towards gay people and trans people. That's is that
no,
really
no,
the point
not all Muslims. I'm saying that the communities that did vote for Trump are. But if you look at the total numbers of Muslims that voted for Trump, it's not like it was an 80% margin. But the communities that did in Michigan were more conservative socially, for sure. The more progressive Muslims definitely voted Democrat. But I could see not liking Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because of Palestine for sure, especially if you're like connected to the issue, if you have family there, 100%. But thinking Trump is better on the issue, he just lied to people. But it's okay. I think I was too stupid to talk to you that long. 1 second. 1 second. You can call in a second. Give me a minute. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like, a comment, and subscribe. Please consider donating to Jolah Politics on Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal. Please consider becoming a channel member as well, or donating through coffee. Everything is greatly appreciated. I thank you for all of the support. I opened up the regular stream to the public again, the horizontal. I'm actually going to restart the shorts stream because that conversation sucked. My shorts algorithm is not working with this title. 1 second. So I'm going to restart my short stream and take you to the other chat for a second. Bear with me.